You know what I find interesting about people who come to see me? Is that almost all of them have one thing in common. They've been trying really, really hard. And I admire that. I do. The effort behind it, the determination. But here's something worth wondering about. And you don't have to agree with me, just let the question float somewhere in the back of your mind for a moment. What if the trying itself is what's been in the way? Not your fault. Nobody tells you this. In fact, everything around you, school, work, sport, says the opposite. Try harder, push more, double the effort. And yet, have you ever tried really hard to remember someone's name? The harder you try, the more it vanishes, doesn't it? And the moment you stop, when you're washing the dishes or walking away, it just arrives, effortlessly, without you doing anything at all. Or, have you ever tried to fall asleep? Really tried? Exactly. The very act of trying to sleep is what keeps you awake. The trying is the problem. There's a word for the opposite of that, for when things happen through you rather than because of you. But we don't need the word. You've already felt it. And in a little while, you're going to notice that feeling even more clearly. So what I'd like you to do, and there's no right way to do this, is just allow yourself to sit in whatever way feels most natural. And as you do that, you might notice your breathing. Not trying to breathe differently, just noticing what's already happening. And your eyes might want to close at some point, and they might not yet. And that's completely fine, because there's a part of you that already knows how to let go. It's been doing it your whole life without being asked. Every night when you sleep, every time you've laughed so hard you forgot yourself. And I'd like you to just find a spot, anywhere, a spot on the wall or a place in front of you, and fix your gaze there. Not trying to stare, just allowing your eyes to rest on that place. And as they rest, you might notice a heaviness beginning around your eyelids. Not because you're making it happen, just because that's what naturally occurs when you stop interfering. And here's the thing I'd like you to really appreciate in the next few moments. The more you try to keep your eyes open, the heavier they become. Not because I'm telling you to close them, but because effort, real effort, always creates its own resistance. And now you can feel that, can't you? That gentle, irresistible pull. So rather than trying to close them, rather than trying to keep them open, you can simply allow whatever wants to happen. And notice how that feels when you stop being in the way of yourself. Good. And with each breath out, you can drift a little deeper. Not because you're trying to drift, but because drifting is simply what happens when effort dissolves, like a fist slowly opening on its own. I'd like to offer you an image, and your mind can use it or reshape it however it likes. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a river, a slow, wide river, and you can see the current moving, steady, purposeful, without effort. Now imagine you stepped in, and rather than trying to swim anywhere, you simply lay back, and the water received you, and the current carried you, not because you worked for it, but because you stopped working against it. This is what your deeper mind already knows how to do. It has been waiting, patiently, all this time, for you to stop paddling so hard, so that it can simply carry you where you actually want to go. And the further you float down that river, the more deeply relaxed you become. And the more deeply relaxed you become, the more clearly you begin to understand something important, something that part of you already suspected. There's something that ancient people noticed, long before science had a word for it, and they described it in different ways, in different places, but it all pointed to the same strange truth. In China, they called it Wu Wei, which roughly means action through non-action. It sounds like a riddle, and in a way it is, but watch what happens when you apply it. A tree in a storm. The rigid oak tree fights the wind, and when the storm gets strong enough, it snaps. The willow tree bends, flows, yields, and in the morning, it's still standing. The willow didn't try to survive. It simply stopped resisting. You can never find a lost item in a muddy river. You must stop and let the sediment settle in stillness or non-action, and the water becomes clear again. Or think of a muscle. When you want to catch something thrown to you, if you try too hard, your hand goes rigid and you miss. Relax. Let the hand be soft and open, and the catch happens almost by itself. The trying was always the tension. The tension was always the obstacle. The obstacle was always made of trying. And here's what that means for you. Your unconscious mind already knows exactly what to do. It has always been known. The part of you that heals a cut without your instruction, that learns a language through immersion without a grammar book, that figures out balance on a bicycle not through analysis, but through the body simply adjusting. That part of you doesn't try, it just does. And the conscious mind, the part that tries so hard, the part with all the plans and the effort and the willpower, means well, genuinely. But there are things it cannot do by trying. The very act of reaching for them pushes them further away, like trying to see the periphery by staring directly at it. The moment you look, it moves. So what if, just as an experiment, from here forward, when you notice the impulse to try, you could recognize that impulse as a signal, not a signal to push harder, but a signal to soften, to step back, to let the deeper part of you, the part that already knows, move forward instead. There was a French pharmacist who lived over 100 years ago. He noticed something remarkable about the people who came to him, the ones who recovered fastest. They weren't the ones who tried the hardest to get better. They were the ones who imagined being better, easily, almost casually, as if it had already happened. He called it a law, and laws aren't suggestions. They just operate, whether you believe in them or not, like gravity. The law was this: when imagination and willpower are in conflict, imagination wins, every time. Try right now. If you can, try not to think of the color blue. Don't think about blue. Push that thought away. You can't do it, can you? Because the will says, not blue, and the imagination hears only blue. The more forcefully you try to avoid it, the more vivid it becomes. Which means willpower, that great engine of trying, is outmatched. Not sometimes, not when tired, always. It was never the right tool for the job. But imagination? Imagination is the tool your deeper mind speaks. Let yourself simply imagine already having it, already being that way, already there, and something in the body begins to quietly rearrange itself, without your trying at all. That's right. And as you rest here now, in this place of effortless knowing, I'd like you to feel something in your body, this particular quality of ease, of softness, of things being handled by the wiser part of you. Notice it as a sensation, where it lives in the body, maybe a warmth, or a release, or simply an openness. And as you feel that sensation fully, I'm going to touch your hand. And any time, in any situation, when you notice the impulse to try too hard, to strain, to force, you can simply place your own right hand over the back of your left, and the river carries you, and your deeper mind steps forward, and effort dissolves, and the right thing simply happens. That's yours now. It belongs to you. It will be there whenever you reach for it. And I'd like you to imagine, just for a moment, a situation in the future where before today you might have tried too hard, forced the thing. And notice how different it feels when instead you feel that familiar ease in your hand, the river carrying you, and the right response simply arriving. Not because you forced it, not because you worked harder, but because you stepped out of your own way and let the deeper intelligence, the part of you that always knew, move through you, cleanly, without effort. How does that feel? Good, because that feeling is real, and it's already yours, and it will be more available to you, not less, the more ordinary it becomes to trust that ease, rather than reaching past it. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and as I do, you'll find yourself returning, not leaving anything behind, but bringing with you that quality of ease, of the river, of the deeper knowing, more available to you now than when you arrived. 1. Awareness beginning to return to the room around you, to the sounds. 2. A gentle, comfortable alertness, the body feeling rested and settled. 3. Beginning to remember where you are and feeling good about it. 4. Eyes preparing to open, feeling refreshed, clear, and calm. 5. Eyes open, fully present, carrying everything with you.